Warning, this episode of PodCRASH is intended for mature audiences only. Although if you're really immature, you'll probably like it a lot.
Only people that appreciate your stuff are people whose brains haven't fully developed.
She could do cougar porn.
And she's cutting a mean shit right there.
Turns abusive. I don't like it.
How do you know it's a queen?
And it says tactical nukes incoming.
This is officially the worst thing that's ever happened to me on a podcast.
Welcome to the show. I am that Chris Gore. This is PodCRASH. This is the show where you get to hear me as a guest each week on a different podcast. You get to discover new shows. I get to talk about a variety of topics. This week I'm crashing a show called the Mad Scientist Party Hour, hosted by a guy named Kevin Kraft, who actually was an intern, used to work on the Howard Stern show and Sirius channels, and moved up from intern to guy who pitched really weird, sick, and disgusting ideas that many who are Howard Stern fans would find funny. More on that later. First of all, I want to make an announcement. I actually want to make kind of a big announcement. A lot of you who used to watch me on G4 TV and used to watch the DVD Day segment on Attack of the Show have encouraged me, hey, you're going to start a YouTube channel, you're going to continue doing DVD reviews, where am I going to get my reviews, what are you going to do? I'm of the opinion, I've come to the conclusion really, that I almost think that the idea of film critics these days, that as a job is kind of going away. It's going the way of the dinosaur. When really good people are being fired left and right at newspapers and at websites and whatnot, I just think that that's a dying profession. I really believe, actually, that the internet has kind of replaced that. Like the sort of mass opinion about something via Twitter, social media, whatever, that's kind of reviews in a sense. Now, I love reading reviews, but I really feel like I've written enough of them, and I've had enough of them on television. And what I'm here to tell you is that I am retiring from that. I am not going to be doing movie reviews, not doing DVD reviews, not formally anyway. I won't be doing a formal DVD program. I won't be doing a YouTube channel or anything. But just because I'm moving on from this, the reason that I really want to retire from being known of as a film critic is because there's other things that I want to do. There's other things that I've been wanting to do for a long time. Some of that involves stand-up comedy, like I'll be doing at SF Sketchfest, actually on Thursday, February 7th at 8 p.m. at Cobb's Comedy Club. To get more information, go to sfsketchfest.com or follow them on Twitter at sfsketchfest. So stand-up comedy and whatnot is an interest of mine, something that I've been pursuing for a while. In addition, I've been a writer and producer of content, film and short films, and I have 2 animated series that I'm working on. And if you've been following the whole Fetishville series, or the beginnings of it, we've run into a whole bunch of problems with that, which I'll discuss on another podcast. I don't want to get into that. But if you actually go to youtube.com/Fetishville, you'll see the new teaser trailer for the web series, which is going to come out probably, I'd say at this point, right around Comic-Con. Not an exact date yet, but Comic-Con will be the debut of the first episode of Fetishville. But for right now, a little teaser trailer on YouTube for Fetishville, and it's Fetish VIL. Yeah, you can look that up. You can also follow them at Fetishville. So there's just other things that I want to do. I've really never wanted to be thought of as a movie critic. Just because I consider myself more of an enthusiast and a geek and an advocate and whatnot. So I never wanted to be pinned down to being pigeonholed into one thing. Now, just because I will not be formally critiquing and or discussing films and DVDs, or forget DVDs, streaming and whatnot, doesn't mean that I'm not going to have opinions and not going to have recommendations and not going to, on occasion, probably often talk about movies. I mean, movies is a passion. It was the gateway drug to everything I love in pop culture. And, when you find out people like Patton Oswalt, who I met Patton when Comedians of Comedy actually opened at the South by Southwest Film Festival in, I believe, 2005, 2006. He walked right up to me and introduced himself as a fan of Film Threat. And I saw the film. And I thought it was amazing, not really knowing who he was as an alt comedian. And he's a guy that wrote under a ghost name or under pseudonym for Ain't It Cool News, because he's extremely passionate about movies. I mean, he does a whole stand-up bit about wanting to go back in time to kill George Lucas so the prequels would never be made. So when you see people sort of outside of the realm of people that are involved in content creation are also, I believe, allowed to have opinions. Kevin Smith, for one. Known Kevin Smith for years. He's a guy that will not only create content via his stand-up. The guy does stand-up comedy, let's face it. He does stand-up and he does a million podcasts. And I mean, his DVD commentaries for a couple of his films are actually better than the films. Cop out. Anyways, so I love Kevin Smith. So because I don't want to be thought of as a film critic, I'm telling you that I'm retiring from being a formal film critic in any sense. That also means that via my podcast, I'm going to have a lot of opinions about movies. And you know what? What the heck? For old time's sake, how about a recommendation? The comedian Fred Stoller, if you know who Fred Stoller is, guy's brilliant. Been in a bunch of sitcoms. Fred Stoller, done stand-up comedy, has appeared, he does bit parts in movies where he always stands out as a guy you remember. There's a movie that came out in 2011 called Fred and Vinny. I believe it was at the Slam Dance Film Festival. In fact, Fred was actually on PodCRASH, an episode of PodCRASH a while back. I think it was the Geek Cred episode. So if you want to hear Fred and I talking. But Fred and Vinny is now available on streaming on Netflix, and that is my little recommendation of the week. That's my Gore stream. I'm not formally reviewing and or criticizing movies because I don't want to be thought of that way anymore. So you will, though, be getting quite a bit of little pieces of information about films, and when something comes out that I really feel strongly about, I'd like to discuss it. Because most movies, frankly, just sort of fit in the middle category. They're just sort of like, that was okay, that was all right, and then, film critic, I feel like these days it's hard to be just a film critic from the standpoint of there's so much good television. Everything from Breaking Bad, Mad Men, Game of Thrones, which is coming up on 3/13/13, right? Is it 3/13 or is it? Anyways. Game of Thrones, which is coming up. So much good television. It's beyond a golden age. I think they need to redefine that. It's the platinum age. It's the age where people buy season passes on iTunes. I mean, we've also got Walking Dead coming up. So when I feel very strongly about something, whether I really love it, really hate it, I'm not going to be able to contain myself. I'm either going to talk about it here and tell you what I think, or I'm going to turn it into a stand-up bit or maybe a weird short film to be goofy. So, but I don't want to be, because I don't want to be thought of as a film critic, I'm retired. I am officially retired. That is my big announcement for this show. Also, you heard the warning at the beginning. This podcast, Mad Scientist Party Hour, has virtually no redeeming social value whatsoever. I mean, we talk about a lot of weird, crazy topics. I hope you find it entertaining. But because of that, I'm feeling really guilty. I feel guilty that what you're about to listen to with clips from the Mad Scientist Party Hour is just going to you're not going to feel that you've, grown as a person. You're not going to feel a sense that you've learned something. So I'm going to tell you everything I know about setting up a surround sound system, because the new place that I just moved into, I've been setting up my surround sound. It's been taking me way too long because I'm anal retentive about every detail being just perfect. And I got one of those, I bought used one of these projection TVs, HD TVs. It looks amazing. It looks like a movie theater that I've set up in my place. It looks so cool. I just happen to have one big wall that's blank. That is what I'm projecting onto, and it looks awesome. But I'm really anal about the way I'm setting it up. In fact, it reminds me of when I was 9 years old. Weird story. I actually set up a movie theater in my house. I grew up in Royal Oak, Michigan, and we all have basements in Michigan. And the basement where the laundry chute was had this little cubby hole, like this sort of crawl space. And I would crawl in there and whatever. I actually convinced my mom I cut a hole in the drywall. and I put the projector back there on a stand. And then I hooked up a wire from speakers and put it all the way into the adjoining room, which then had, I set up a movie screen. So what was cool was just like a normal movie theater. You would sit there in the room, which I'd set up little card table chairs. I'd turn on the projector. You'd watch like these Laurel and Hardy, or I had like The Empire Strikes Back on Super 8. I also had like Night of the Living Dead, the entire feature film, in black and white, sound on Super 8. And what was cool about it was, because I'd invite the neighborhood kids over, we would watch the movies. You wouldn't be able to hear the whir of the projector because projectors were so loud back then. They clackety clack 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 clack. They were so loud that you needed some way to mask the sound. So having it completely in another room with just a hole cut out was great. So I feel like I'm pretty much still like 12 years old. I'm still like this kid that wants to have a movie theater in his house. So this is why I've set this up. But here's everything you need to know, and it's really, really basic because I feel so guilty about this Mad Scientist Party Hour. What you need to do is determine the size screen that you need first. A lot of people brag they have 60. Oh, I've got a 70 inch. I've got 80. Mine goes up to, when you zoom it out all the way, it's 300 inches. 300-inch projection screen. What you need to do is the distance between you and your television size should be about 2.5 times the size of the screen. So I really don't have enough room actually to get correctly further back. So that determines the size of your screen and where you should be viewing it from. 2.5 times. So you got a 60-inch screen. You're going to want to be, 150 inches away from it. That's the correct viewing distance. Okay, once you've determined that, you got to set up your whatever your seating is. To me, comfortable eye level. So you're at eye level with what you're viewing. That avoids neck strain. Secondly, you set up your surround sound speakers, whether it's 5.1, 7.1, or even stereo. You can do decent stereo setup. What you're trying to do is create triangulate a configuration in which wherever your head is going to be, your ears are going to be. If you're watching sitting down or whatever the level is, the speakers are pointed at that. A lot of people don't do this. This is the most simple thing you can do. They just sort of set the speakers up. The best thing really is you set them up and you kind of angle it so they're pointing at your head. Like if you created like a 3-dimensional X, you're trying to hit yourself in the head. You're trying to shoot yourself in the head. Once you've done that, you pretty much have like the best surround sound setup. I get super anal though, where I'll put I want to have like red curtains around it because I want it to look like a movie theater. I want to have as few remotes as possible. I try to set stuff up so that so I hide all the wires. I take all the wires and I put ties on it. I know this is, you know what? Maybe this isn't quite as entertaining as what you're about to hear on Mad Scientist Party Hour. So let's actually get to that. Mad Scientist Party Hour is hosted by Kevin Kraft, and his buddy Geoff Clark, who was there. I went to their apartment in Hollywood. It's right around the Hollywood Bowl. I can tell you the exact address if you email me at podcrashwiththatchrisgore@gmail.com. It's also hosted by a guy named Shuddy Boy, who was on Skype. We didn't hear from Shuddy Boy that much, but he is actually, he doesn't speak a lot, but when he says something, it's really important. He's like the Boba Fett of the Mad Scientist Party Hour. And it's really this sort of, it's a podcast where they just geek out and talk about, I don't know, they geek out and talk about everything. And it's part of the Riotcast Network, which features podcasts from a bunch of other comedians like Rich Voss and Jim Florentine. If you listen to Howard Stern, you're familiar with Rich Voss and Jim Florentine. Great comics. So they're on the Riotcast Network. But a lot of what they do on the show not only involves they're talking about everything from comics, movies, this sort of mishmash of geek and bizarre culture and weird sex stuff. Which you'll hear later. They also do a lot of bets, and some of the bets involve the physical mutilation of some of the hosts. Usually it ends up being Kevin. You have now been warned. Okay, so here it is, Mad Scientist Party Hour.
I have a question to ask.
What's the question?
Justin Bieber, smoking poop. Do you like him anymore? Because this guy has an anti-Justin Bieber stance, and I'm kind of...
You know what?
He's just a turd.
I'm partially pro-Justin Bieber, and I want to hear your stance on it, Chris.
Oh, Jesus Christ, Jeff.
I want to hear what Shuddy Boy thinks first.
There's nothing that's going to make Justin Bieber cool.
Yeah, if anything,
how about if he was in Twilight?
He's making weed suck.
Shut up, Jeff.
Oh, that's a good one.
I think that the answer's pretty obvious. I'm just not into Justin Bieber. I don't know. I guess it's just I don't have an underage vagina. I think that's probably. I'm going to guess that's the reason. I think if you have underage vagina, you're into Justin Bieber.
That makes sense. Yeah. If you're
Jeff, where are you hiding your underage vagina? Because I feel like that's
Well, it's actually in my hoodie.
I mean, I feel like also like he's a guy that like is going to be poised to. It's like he is living in the heyday of who he is.
Yes,
because he is. It's Justin Bieber the brand. You know, he's this big entity. You know, it's not even him. I mean, it's just like this image that they've created. He is the host, if you will, for the parasite, which is the media and the fandom and all that stuff that is the false thing. So it sounds really creepy what I'm saying, but what I mean is that like what this is now poised for is the downfall, which is going to be, you know, just like what happened to Britney Spears.
It's going to be
you got
epic.
all this fame, you got all this stuff happening, and then it will go away as it always does, and then.
Well, that's the problem when you build your whole empire, and he has built quite an empire, but when your fan base is like 5-year-old girls, that says something when the only people that appreciate your stuff are people whose brains haven't fully developed. Like eventually those brains are going to develop, and they're going to be like, wait a second, I'm listening to fucking garbage, and look at this Fruit Loops hair. I'm out of here.
But I mean, you know, he was lucky enough that who discovered him? Someone that was at
Usher.
I think
Usher. Like,
Usher.
Here's what I respect about him. It's not his music; it's the fact that he made it from nothing. Like he made it from an internet video, and that's pretty spectacular. Like he's worth what, over $150 million, and it's a rags.
Yeah, but so did Gum Gum Style.
Hey, Geoff.
Gagnum.
Whenever you want to get Justin Bieber's dick out of your mouth so we can do the show,
There's the booze talking.
that would be fantastic.
All right, fair.
Shots fired. Why didn't you drink more, Shuddy boy?
Because you yell at me when I do.
Well, I'll stop.
He turns abusive. I don't like it.
I love it. So you've done actually a bunch of times a show that I used to work on. You've been on Geek Time.
I have been on
Sirius XM.
I have been on Geek Time. I love those guys. I love that show.
It's a great show.
You get to intimately know Ralph Cirilla,
Yeah.
and the whole gang there: John Hine, Jason Kaplan, Steve Brandano, the
Great
entire
human beings.
Action Geek Time news team.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, those guys are great. That's a great show. It's weird because I have to tell people about it. You know, if you have Sirius Radio, you're pretty much like buying the Howard's. You're basically subscribing to Howard Stern.
Yep.
If you're a Sirius satellite radio owner. These other shows that are on there, which are on the Howard 101, you know, you have to kind of discover those.
Yeah.
So I'm a big fan of that show. I think Ralph's great because he is. I mean, he's got big balls about just like stuff. He'll say, I hate that. I can't stand this. I'm like, that's great. I respect that. You know.
It was very tricky because I used to work for that show, and it was very tricky. Like, oh, I'm working on a show called Geek Time now. I'm a massive nerd. This is great. There's finally an outlet for me to channel all my geeky shit on the radio. And it was more like, oh shit, we can't really do anything with that because Ralph's not up on it. And I was like, fuck.
Right.
Well, that was like that time that I came up to be in there for comic book talk when it, you know, I guess season 2 when it first started again, and all Ralph did was talk about the iPad.
Yeah, he loves his Apple stuff. But our last episode we talked about we basically shit all over Amazing Spider-Man 700. I don't know if you read comics, right?
Not so much anymore. What I do is I go to Comic-Con once a year, or I'll go to the comic, and what I'll do is just buy the graphic novels with collected. I just want to see the full collected story, because when I read like comic book, there's like just great people on Twitter that talk about comics. It's always complaining. Well, the Court of Owls, this, you know, and this, I don't know why they changed so-and-so's costume. It's like, it's. I mean, half the fun of comics is complaining about them with you know, costume changes and the Batman from Earth 2. Well, he's and you sound like an idiot just talking. What I like to do is just buy the collection, because then I know it's like this was a story that was compelling enough that they decided to put it in paper that was a little more costly. Plus, comics are so expensive now.
Yeah.
And I have not committed to digital comics. So, yeah, I'm not. So what happened with Spider-Man 700?
Well, leading up
Lost.
to it, because you know how like everybody has to do a reboot now. DC rebooted, now Marvel's rebooting. So they had to reboot Amazing Spider-Man.
Right.
So what they did was they made Dr. Octopus was all decrepit and dying. So he sent out an Octobot to switch his mind, his consciousness with Peter Parker. So they switch bodies, and Peter Parker's in the dying body of Dr. Octopus. And Otto Octavius is running around as Peter Parker, and then Peter Parker dies in the body of Dr. Octopus.
So now Dr. Octopus is Spider-Man.
Is Spider-Man, but he had a Grinch moment and a change of heart, so now he's a good guy.
This is the dumbest thing I've ever. This is why I don't buy comics, because it just makes me want to punch comics.
So we shit all over it, and I failed to even mention there was a massive Geek Time shout out in it. They
Really?
always do the recaps. They have like a daily bugle to like what happened previously in Amazing Spider-Man, and they do it in article form. So one of the articles, it said written by Jason Kaplan, and the other one was written by Ben Bardo, who is on the show.
Right,
on
yeah.
the show now.
Yeah, I know, Ben. Yeah,
So
that's cool.
I forgot to give that shout out last week. So
Well,
I'm doing it now.
This is it. Just sounds. That sounds like awful. That sounds like Superman 3. Or Superman 4: The Quest for Peace. I mean, this is when a franchise just starts to go down the toilet.
Yeah.
If you're doing brain switching, which was like a bad, I think the most brain switching movies ever were made in the 80s, and that's one of the cheapest story devices out there. I mean, it's just weird to see it in comics because in movies it's just a simple thing. It's like we've switched brains,
Yeah.
sound effect, and then suddenly you and I are in each other's bodies. It makes no sense. It's like it's a special effect that requires no special effects.
Yeah, it's like
But
having
in
an invisible villain.
Exactly, but in a comic book, it's even worse. And then, like, it reminds me even like of an old Star Trek episode, Spock's brain, where they like took this planet stole his brain, and like Spock was there but had no brain, and they had to like go get his brain on another planet and put it. That was the 3rd season of Star Trek, the original series, when it was down the toilet. I feel like when you're running out of ideas, you go to these old staple shitty story devices, and brain
Yeah.
switching is one of them.
Yeah, it was brutal, and they
wonder
put
if
out,
they'll learn a lesson, because that's every brain switching thing is always like, wow, I have a better understanding, like Freaky Friday, the mom and the daughter switch brains, and it's like, I understand you better. It's always like some dumb thing. They've got to do a brain switching movie where like, I don't know.
It's not a happy ending.
Yeah, Howard Stern and Adolf Hitler switch brains, and then it's like, I could see why the Nazis did what they did. They made a lot of sense. Oh, it's bad to kill Jews. I don't know. That would be a much better thing.
Yeah. So now that it's 2013, we gotta we're all huge movie nerds here.
Yes.
So we gotta get your favorite movies of 2012.
Wow, that's tough.
Do you have any?
Yes.
I'm not gonna put it on you to name your favorite, but just whatever stands out.
Oh man, that's tough. That's tough. I hate those questions that are like, what are your top this? What are your that? Like, it's sort of like, I feel like a robot when I'm being asked that and I'm going to explode. But I mean, the ones that stand out that aren't obvious are 7 Psychopaths. I thought was brilliant. But I thought it had one of the worst campaigns. I remember seeing the ads for it, the trailers, and thinking to myself, I don't want to see this movie. It looks stupid. It's a great cast of a movie I don't want to see. It was
I felt the same way.
Horribly mismarketed, and it's a great film. It's a movie about movies. And it makes fun of itself. It makes fun of itself and the genre, which is sort of a Tarantino-esque crime thriller, and it's mocking it while actually making a really good version of it. That was one of the standouts. The Sessions I saw recently, which if you're into Helen Hunt full frontal nudity, there is the most. Mr. Skin just may as well put the entire movie online.
Yeah, you see full beef, right?
Full beef. I mean, it's like amazing. Like Helen
Any
Hunt.
lips?
Oh, she is. I'm trying to think if there were. I saw it on standard def DVD, not Blu-ray, and not at the theater.
So
But
yeah,
because I was watching screener, but it's.
Standard Blu-ray.
But she is hot enough to be. She could do cougar porn, absolutely, without question. And it's also one of those things where it's like, if a woman who's attractive does something where she's unattractive, she'll be up for an Oscar. Or if an attractive woman who is later on in her years does nudity, she'll be not. So she is going to get nominated for an Oscar, I predict. But that was also like a standout. And then I happen to like Cloud Atlas. It's one of those movies that like. The makeup is the big complaint about that film because you have like 6 stories with 6 actors playing parts in all of those stories, and some of the makeup doesn't quite work.
Yeah,
but
the whole yellow face thing when they were Asian.
It's like you're trying to turn white people into Asian. You got that hot Asian chick, and you're trying to make her like an unattractive white woman. It's like it doesn't work. But the story's pretty cool. It's like it almost. This rarely happens to me. It almost made me want to read a book. That rare, but I know it happens.
Wow.
So and then this is going to sound weird, but I initially really despised Dark Knight Rises, and now the more I watch it, the more I kind of like that movie. It's like with repeated viewings, it's like there's more to this film. It's almost like, and I've heard rumors that that he really was forced to cut a chunk out of the movie, like all the stuff that seems really montagey and jumpy and things that weren't explained. There's stuff that was cut out. There was a lot of stuff cut out. I mean, there's like footage of like Bane's origin and a lot more. There's more missing from that film, and I hope at some point that there's Christopher Nolan director's cut that makes it around. Although that's not usually his move. He doesn't really do that.
I see.
These are my favorites of the year. So like, they're mostly loaded to the stuff at the end of the year. But and I saw Les Miserables. Horrible. Is one of the worst. Russell Crowe cannot sing.
That's what I heard.
Really? Yeah. No.
I have no interest in
French musical.
Yeah.
I thought it would have been great.
Yeah. Exactly. You're saying it. Well, you do like Justin Bieber, so I don't know. You can maybe you're not being
I just
sarcastic.
respect the hustle of Justin Bieber. That's all I'm saying.
That
boyfriend song, but that's it.
That I can respect the hustle, but not. I don't care about his music.
No, his music's horrible.
It's like all these guys. Like I like Justin Timberlake as an actor. I like Mark Wahlberg as an actor. Their music, never listened to it. Couldn't tell you a song that any of those dudes did. But
Good Vibrations.
But
come on, you know that shit.
What is it?
Don't even.
Come on, Geoff, sing it.
Well, Good Vibration. No, I don't care.
Good vibration. What are you talking about?
No interest. I don't.
Funky Mark.
No, thank
Wait,
you.
Marky Mark and the Funky Bunch. I fucked it all up.
Funky
No.
fuck.
Jesus Christ.
Pop music.
Yeah.
I hate it.
Yeah. Let's
Not
get
into
away
it.
from that.
Okay.
But
This was
Dark
awful.
Knight Rises, I hated it.
I respect
love Dark Knight.
Okay, I respect you because it's such a divert. And the thing is, he made one critical error, which Batman would never have retired for 8 years.
Exactly.
This is a guy who witnessed the death of his parents in front of him when he was like 8 years old, right? So he saw his parents die in front of him. His girlfriend dies and he's like, I think I'm gonna like put up the cape and I'll just take the rap and let's just create a lie so we win at the end of the movie. It's a really it's a horrible thing. It's like, we kind of lost. Like this guy Harvey Dent got turned to an evil guy. In order to cover that up, it's like, I'll just take the fall for Dent stuff. Why? Couldn't they have just said it was someone else, like one of the other crime lords that he killed? I mean, those guys are like murder-suicides all the time.
They mentioned that it was
Then
peacetime.
how do you feel about The Dark Knight Returns?
I love The Dark Knight Returns. Frank Miller, that changed comics. That actually got me to read comics again. Like I read comics as a kid. That thing came out in the 80s. That and Watchmen around the same time changed my freaking life. I said movies can be better, or like comic books can be better than movies in terms of storytelling.
But he had gone a full decade before The Dark Knight before returning.
But he was 60 years old. He retired when he was 50.
Yeah.
Batman wouldn't retire at like, well, I've been around for 2 years. My girlfriend's dead, and
Okay,
and I'm just going to
fair
retire
point.
for 7 years. It's like,
Yeah.
I don't
But
think
it
he
was
would have done that
peacetime.
at the height of his career. Nah, it doesn't make sense. It's
Yeah.
I feel like he still would've-
there's always something for Batman to do.
that was the big flaw of that film, is that something that that isn't inherent. To me, whenever there's things like that, it's like that is a problem with the character. Like Prometheus, I actually like that movie again after repeated viewings. The problem is like everything that the characters do in that film makes no sense. So the character motivations are off, but the story is really compelling. I find that really fascinating. I like science fiction that, although I heard an interesting thing that like Ridley Scott, he had to stay away from proposing that Jesus Christ was an engineer.
Yeah, I heard he wanted to get real religious with it.
Really wanted to just sort of, stick a fist up religion's ass. Because there's a great line in a deleted scene where one of the characters, the scientist, just basically says he wants to prove that all religion is wrong. And basically stop all wars by stop people fighting over religion because religion's bullshit, which would have been it would have been radical. I feel like that movie like sort of pussied out. I feel like a lot of the things are like when filmmakers kind of pussy out. But see, what I like about Dark Knight Rises is Batman dies in the end. And I thought that would have been such a great ending. I wonder if Warner Brothers actually pressured Nolan. He's very diplomatic whenever he says anything. He's a guy who doesn't do DVD commentary anymore. He's very... He's an enigma. He started becoming like Stanley Kubrick in a way, like kind of a recluse, like distance. The guy doesn't have any technology, doesn't have a cell phone, doesn't have an email address.
Really?
You have to go through his wife producer to get.
Oh, no shit.
Yeah, he's gonna feel like he's definitely. I think it's actually, I respect it in the way that you respect Justin Bieber, although I think that's idiotic.
Yeah.
I think it's idiotic to respect Justin Bieber, but like I respect Chris Nolan from the standpoint of like what he says is it basically filters out all the noise. It's like you're not checking the internet, you don't have a Facebook, you don't have email, so people can reach you that like you're able to stay focused on a thing, which is why I think he's one of today's most brilliant filmmakers.
Yeah.
And
Did
I will
you
say,
hear how he had the Warner Brothers executives read his script for Inception? They had to actually fly to his home in London and read it on his computer.
I thought he had a home
no.
in L.A. I'm told. I'm
Am
told
I
that
wrong?
he has I may have a home in both places, but I thought he had a home in L.A. and he's got like a garage in the back that is his like home office.
You could be right. I could have fucked that up. But
No, it's fine. It's just like, I always thought that he lived.
I'll look
either
into
way, he
this.
wasn't sending it.
Maybe he has 2 homes. You know, when you're at that level, you've got a couple homes.
Yeah, I hope he
You know,
does.
when
Jesus
or when
Christ.
you're at your level, you've got a luxurious apartment on Las Palmas Boulevard, north of Hollywood, off the 101 freeway. I'm not going to be specific here.
Yeah. Let's keep it vague. There's a lot of stalkers of this show. Surprisingly, no one listens, but there are stalkers.
Nice.
Not for Kevin or Geoff, though.
Jesus Christ.
Oh, Shuddy.
I think I'm just.
I like Shuddy Boy. I like his attitude. I
Thank you.
gotta get shuddied at some point during the show. I want to get shuddied.
And then Skyfall, I loved because I'm a big James Bond nerd, so I was a big fan of Skyfall.
I liked it, but I sort of missed I like the idea of an agent gone mad, but I missed the whole thing of like, doesn't someone want to take over the entire world? Because that would be awesome. Like, I sort of missed that, but I guess that's the plot of every James Bond movie. Like,
Yeah.
the guy who wants to you're going to find, I'm going to control the weather. I'm going to build a base on the moon and kill everyone. I'm going to, there's like, it's always some sort of madman, evil plot that he's going to tell you at the very
Yeah.
end.
It
So
never
this was
really gets old.
Yeah, exactly. So this was a divert from that. So, there were parts of it. I think it has one of the best opening action sequences of certainly the Daniel Craig ones.
Yeah, that was
You know,
really
that
cool.
opening action sequence was really, really amazing. And you got to give it up for like those title sequences are so good.
Yeah, you
They're
almost
so
have
good.
to do them at this point if you're coming out with a big
Oh man,
budget
the
action movie.
music, and it's like naked girls in silhouette. It's awesome.
Yeah.
It's all like
Every
and they
now
get-
and then they throw you a bone and show you a tiny bit of nip.
yeah. There's like it's so good.
Airy.
Yeah.
Yeah. And then I said Avengers, right? And then
Yeah, sure.
But Avengers
Avengers.
gets Avengers, and this is why I came to this conclusion about Dark Knight Rises is Avengers gets worse the more you watch it. Like
Really?
upon repeated viewings, Avengers just becomes dumber. Like it just becomes like, there's like scenes that drag, and Dark Knight Rises gets better the more you see it.
see, I've seen Dark Knight Rises twice, and someone got it for me for Christmas.
Right.
So I have to watch it a third time. But the second time just reinforced it. It was like, okay, there's a Batman movie I don't like. I have to live with that.
Yeah, exactly. yeah. Well, I love those honest trailers on YouTube where like they just did one recently, and it's like they did one for I think it was Dark Knight Rises, and it's like they said Christopher Nolan, the maker of 2 good Batman movies. So I think that's kind of out there.
Oh, that's awesome.
Yeah.
Shuddy,
And then,
what's your favorite?
Well, my last one of
my
the
bad.
year,
My
my
bad.
last one of the favorite movie of the year was Wreck-It Ralph. I thought Wreck-It Ralph was great.
We are in agreement. Wreck-It Ralph, amazing. So good. John C. Reilly, Sarah Silverman, and it just like captured everything about retro video games and modern games. It was like it's Toy Story for video games, and it's
Yeah.
awesome.
It was great.
The only thing that's unbelievable about that, the only thing that makes no sense in that is that there's an arcade.
I know, and that's so heartbreaking.
There's no such thing as an arcade anymore. We
I
all have
know.
Xboxes, and we're downloading games more and more. Or we all have device. I mean, it's I got rid of all my portable players. I literally have no portable players. I download games on my iPhone. I mean, I just play them on my iPhone. That's my handheld player is an iPhone.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And it's sad because like the only arcades that exist now are in movie theaters.
Yeah,
Like the only time
And they
you'll see,
suck.
Yeah, and they always suck.
yeah, it's the worst.
It's kind of a bummer. Maybe this will put that spark in the younger generation to.
Yeah,
I
that's the
doubt
only-
it. It's a long shot, but
It's but that's the only thing. But other than that, like that movie's nearly a perfect movie. It's so
Yeah.
good. Yeah.
I was a big fan. So,
Yeah.
Shuddy and Geoff, was there anything I missed? Anything on our lists or anything on your list that wasn't on ours?
Anything Justin Bieber related that you want to blow?
Yeah, what was his
I-
documentary? Never Say
I
Never.
really, really liked Cabin in the Woods.
Yes,
That wasn't this year, was it?
Yeah,
Yeah.
It was. It was like
It
earlier
was
in the
summertime.
Oh no shit.
year.
Yeah, that was a good flick.
Yeah, earlier in the year. But yeah, no, that was great. No, good.
I
one.
love Dark Knight Rises. I really
As
did.
have I.
There we go. There
Yeah.
we go.
Right.
Yeah.
I thought it was my
am the
favorite.
odd man
I
out.
watched it
I can
for
live
a
with that.
4th time this weekend,
And
and I love it even more.
Yeah,
it gets better with
every
repeated
time.
viewings because there's more layers to it, and there's a lot of comments on like just I love when a filmmaker will take a genre movie. science fiction, fantasy, whatever it is, and make comment on culture happening now. I mean, there's a lot of comments that are really about the Occupy movement. There's comments about like money having power over. There's a lot of really interesting layers to it.
Just when that's lost and what happens in society, like when that notion goes out where money really isn't that important. Like, I like that.
Right. I mean, there's a lot of. I feel like with Nolan, I think the problem with the film is it's too ambitious. It's trying to make He's trying to make comments on too many things.
Yeah, it's like, dude, it's fucking Batman. You made a 3-hour Batman movie, and there's 5 minutes of Batman in it.
No, the
Batman's Batman.
Perfect. The Batman is perfect. The amount of Batman is so epic. And when him and Bane fucking square up with no music, that is so awesome.
I'm right with you. That scene with Bane, because it's not accompanied by music. It's silent and actually is kind of creepy and dark and scary. And you're like, holy crap, Batman's going to get his ass kicked. And you're like, oh my God, the Batman can't lose because in all the previous Batman films, he never got beaten. He might have been foiled or sidetracked or whatever, had to let go. But like, he never was beaten.
I like the fact that like it was just almost like you step back for like, holy shit, like this is gonna happen, because like there is no music, and like he just kind of they just look at each other and they square up, and it's just like
it's creepy.
It's so anticlimactic that it's fucking just like, oh my God, like it's just like, wow.
I like that Nolan underplayed it, and I like it's interesting because I know some people who worked on the film, and one of the things they say about Nolan is he has like a language they use. Like there's only like 3 or 4 people on the entire set that even know like what the real story is. So they have code language for when they're talking about certain types of things happening, which I find really cool.
That seems like a pain in the ass to keep up with.
And you knew about the thing about like how you'd read the script at the last 5 pages of the script where like he would just tell you it. He wouldn't ever physically give you a copy of those last 5 pages.
Oh, no shit.
Because he wanted the ending to be kept a secret, and it was for the most part. It didn't leak out. So
wow,
yeah, no,
good for him.
I respect what that guy's doing. I just wish he would do DVD commentary. Maybe he'll do that on like the anniversaries of these. And there's got to be. My guess is, and I've heard. I mean, you can look it up. There have been comments that there was a much longer cut and a better cut of Batman. But I think what they need to do with these long movies, because movies, especially around this time of year, because I saw The Hobbit. Yeah, and look, I enjoyed it. I saw it in IMAX 3D. Big mistake. I should have just seen it as a normal movie. I didn't see it in the 48 FPS. I think that would have driven me crazy.
Yeah, me too. I skipped that.
But because I just heard so many. I didn't hear a single person say anything good about it. And even when they were defending it, like, it looks cool when you get used to it after an hour and a half. It's like, no, I'm not going to have to get used to a movie.
But I also like Prometheus. Another one that got better the more I watch it. I like that
I'm with you. It got better the more I watch it too, because it's a science fiction movie that actually asks questions. Actually asks questions about our origin, and it's just that it kind of got ballless at the end. But I feel like what needs to come back is intermissions. You know, I would pay more to see a 3.5-hour Batman movie if there were an intermission like Gandhi, or something.
Yeah, get a piss break. You'll get more popcorn.
When I say Gandhi was the last film theatrically released in the United States that was that had an intermission.
Oh, no shit.
Like, I feel like a lot of movies like Magnolia could have, benefited from an intermission. Like, any movie north of 2.5 hours, if it's more than 2.5 hours, build in an intermission, because I am going to have to pee.
I have a clip here. This is a video clip that was actually sent to me by Geoff's brother. It's already got quite a decent amount of views. Shit, sorry. Just opening my club soda. This is something I think is going to be the next viral hit, because it combines my 2 favorite things in the world, which are Asian girls and farts. This is a 12-minute clip of nothing but Japanese girls farting.
I have not seen this. I want this link.
Asian girls.
What are you talking about? Not Asian girls.
No, not just Japanese girls. Asian girls in general.
It says Japanese. The name of the video is Japanese Girls Huge Farts.
Okay, that's not what you said, though.
Shut up, Shuddy boy. I'm listening to farts.
How is it that Asian men are into this? Someone has to be. This is just bizarre.
I'm into this.
because
he really is.
They can't show
messaged
porn.
Me at work, dude. You need to watch that video, and I started it.
Hey,
up.
we're trying to watch it, Shuddy boy. Jesus Christ.
I'm not talking the rest of the show.
Good.
Do not turn this off. This should accompany the entire rest of it. It has to be played at full 12 minutes.
Oh, I'm in.
We just
I'm
pause
sold.
here, there. Wait, hold on. You gotta listen to this.
Now, are there different types of farts? Are there ones that are more... Are there others that are kind of wet farts?
Oh,
Dude,
yeah.
this one bitch queefs. This is great.
How do you know it's a queef?
Watch.
One girl farts a turd out onto her leg.
No.
I swear.
How is this still up on
Hold
YouTube?
on.
How is this still
Hold
up
on.
on
She's
YouTube?
buckling a little bit. Hold on.
How is this still up on YouTube? This is
You
crazy.
see her going like this.
Jeff, no one can see that disgusting pose you just did.
Oh my God! What is it about? I'm telling you, the most kinky, weird cultures are the Brits.
Okay, and it says tactical nukes incoming.
Pointing to her butt.
Wait, what? The Brits, the Germans, and the Japanese are the most perverse cultures.
Yeah.
I say that as a compliment, I don't mean as an insult.
But you've seen Japanese porn before, and the Asian porn, they blur the genitals, so they have to get weird. They can't show...
Would it be weird if you were dating an Asian chick and her genitals look like pixels? They look like Wreck-It Ralph, you know? Like, or
They're
Fix-It
blurred out.
Felix.
Like, where is your pussy? Like,
I
what is
can
happening?
fix it. I can
Oh,
fix
oh,
it.
oh.
Oh, is this the queef?
Yeah.
Oh, no.
Oh, look at that angle.
No. Oh, my God. But she's wearing pantyhose.
Oh, that's totally a queef.
Oh, my God.
Oh,
No,
you can
that
see her
is...
pussy moving.
Yeah,
Oh,
dude.
my
She's
God.
queen.
Well, it's through the pantyhose, so... Jeez.
What a keeper. Look at that. Black lace. Oh,
What are they
baby.
eating?
Did you see there's a meme
Oh!
There's a meme going around of... It's pictures of Asian girls that have tattoos of English phrases on them.
Oh, I did
So
see
it's
that.
like there's a girl and you see she has a tattoo on her arm and it says water. It just says water in English. Like, because I do think that whole thing of like, well, I've got a tattoo and it's got a kanji symbol. Like, okay, those are kind of like artful and beautiful, but like,
Not as artful and beautiful as this. She puts her skirt back down. Yeah. It was just like some guys like, hold on. I got a camera.
Are
You
they
have to
doing-
fart. Okay, you do. Pull
are
off
they
your skirt.
doing this for attention? Like,
They're doing this so I can jerk off on Thursdays.
There's people jerking off to this.
I don't get it.
it's weird because I went on a trip to Japan one time. I went to Shoshinkai, which is the Nintendo game show.
Oh,
and
nice.
when I was working for a video game magazine at the time. And when I went there, the weirdest thing ever was to see real schoolgirls. Like, real schoolgirls. Like, you go on the
'cause
train
you're
and
like,
you'd
wait a
see-
second, I'm not supposed to have these thoughts that I'm having
No.
right now.
What was weird was you see, like, these obviously younger schoolgirls, 12, 13, 14. And then...
Yeah, not supposed to have these thoughts right now.
And then I would go to like these electronic stores. You'd go to like the adults only area of the electronic store, and there was all this porn related to schoolgirls. So unbeknownst to them, they're like sexually fetishized by adult businessmen, but they have no clue that that's what's happening. We're not going to really have a serious conversation while we're watching this.
Oh, that sounds like a
I
challenge.
have an erection right now.
Jesus.
I love that they all...
Oh my god! It's
You
like
can
her
see her butt
pantyhose. Yeah, her pantyhose split. She farted so hard. God, what a darling.
I like that they all have to pull their skirts up even though they have underpants on. It's like, why bother? You're farting. I can hear your fart. Oh! That's a great pose. She like hiked her leg up and shit.
leg. What a sex kid. God. I want
What
to
a
know how
sex
this was
kitten,
pitched
Jeff.
to this. I want to know how this was pitched to them. Like,
I
hey,
think we missed the part where the girl farted a turd out onto her thigh.
listen, baby. We're gonna do a fart compilation video, and we need your ass.
I hate chicks farting though. Like, this is hysterical, but like sexy wise, like I have this weird blocker up. If a chick farts, it's such a manly activity that it's an immediate turnoff if a chick farts.
I feel you, but
hate
now
it.
I think it's kind of hysterical. Like,
This is fucking
It's not.
great.
No, not the video. I mean, for whatever reason, my attitude towards chick farting has changed in the past like 2 years. Like,
Really?
I
'Cause of
think
this
it's
video?
funny as hell. No, not because of this video. Just because I think it's funny.
Oh, it bums me out.
I'm not into farts with a girl in regular rotation. I feel like it's sort of like in a way that like, because then I feel like it sort of opens the door to like it's cool for you to fart, because I like to be able to fart and burp in front of my woman. Not in a way like it's a human thing. After a while, come on.
Yeah, and holding it in sucks because it just builds and gets worse.
I feel like you're less of a man if you hold in your farts.
So, I don't do it anyways. Like, what do you hold in your farts in front of your woman?
Well, like on a first date.
I'm saying I don't. I feel like you're less of a man if that's what you do.
Oh, okay.
So guys I know that don't fart in front of their girlfriends or wives or whatever, it's like, dude.
What's she going to do, dump you? Like, what?
Yeah.
They're fucking emasculated pussies.
That's exactly right. It's like, come on. Like, look, there's a time and a place. Obviously, you're having a fancy dinner. You're at Denny's.
You better hope it's silent. I don't care. If I got to fart, I'm farting.
There's a time and a place for farts.
And it's YouTube and Asian women.
And it's not like you want to call attention to it, but,
Look at her bend over for it.
Oh, my God.
Projects into it. Okay. Oh, my God.
See, this bums me out because she looks hot.
Yeah.
And she's cutting a mean shit right there.
Okay, I have to interrupt these clips to actually tell you about this fart video that we watched, which is all these like Asian girls farting. I never even knew about this fetish. This is really bizarre. I thought I knew about every sort of weird fetish. And there's a lot of weird ones out there that just don't interest me. And I have to say that this fart one doesn't exactly interest me. But I'm not surprised that something like this surfaced from Japan. But you can find this video. I believe it's on YouTube for sure. And if you actually go to PodCRASH with thatchrisgore.tumblr.com or just podcrash.net, we'll post this video as actually part of the show notes for this episode. But it really was horrifying, and the audio doesn't even like begin to tell you. I mean, there wasn't anything like sexual in terms of like nudity. I mean, like the girls, I think maybe a couple of the girls had thongs on, so they were all clothed. It was just this weird thing of watching the farts, and it's because this is visual, something I've described. You could almost see in some of with the girls' underwear, especially when it was sort of larger, those kind of granny pants. You could see sort of a flutter, a little like a flutter of the underpants with the fart. I didn't get it, and it also is one of the things where it's like I didn't know that they were going to do any of this stuff, the farting stuff. So it's one of the, I just wasn't exactly prepared for all of this to sort of go down and think, we're going to talk about nerdy stuff. So all I can say is, you know what, watch the video and judge for yourself. All right, back to the final segment from the Mad Scientist Party Hour.
I made a bet. I don't know anything about sports, Chris. Nothing, to the fact where it's embarrassing to Geoff, who is a massive sports fan, the minimal amount of sports knowledge I have.
Which sports do you not know anything about?
All of them. Anything with a ball or a puck, I don't know what.
You're not into men playing with their balls.
Nope.
All right.
I don't get it. I
Such a fag.
I don't. It's just not my thing. But I always try to shame Geoff by making sports bets, and I make all my picks alphabetically,
just to show how random and stupid it is.
Yes, like, and I always lose.
You are throwing.
No, you don't always
dart.
lose.
Well, okay, so what was the bet? I gotta hear.
Yeah, you do.
So the bet was we just picked
simple.
the rest of the football games for the past week, and I went alphabetically. Geoff picked with sports knowledge, and we made a bet, and I lost. And the bet was the loser has to eat pasta with foot shavings on it. With a petty egg.
No, dude, do not do it.
Like Parmesan cheese.
No, this is disgusting, please. Not while we're...
He's going to fucking do it. It's going to happen.
All right, Geoff.
No.
Whip your feet out and get me some flakes.
No, don't.
Chris, you weren't
is
here for
gross.
last episode. My foot is beautiful.
No,
He's not gonna
I'm
get
turning
any
away.
flakes.
I'm turning away. I do not want to see this. I do not. I am.
You have to. You're the guest of honor.
I do not.
We're doing this for you.
I'm closing my eyes. I just the sound of it is disgusting. I can hear it.
My feet stink.
Oh my God.
Geoff.
They stink like.
Yes.
Oh my God, no!
I think wearing one sock made it worse.
Fucking
oh
hell.
My God.
What did you do? Wash your feet in vinegar? Jesus Christ, man.
God. Yeah, feet. There's a certain.
Is anything coming off?
More than anything else.
So.
Feet sweat is the worst.
Ugh.
Oh no. Oh God, no. I'm not even looking. I can't do it.
I gotta see if
I
there's...
can't do it, but I can hear it. This
Whip
is
your other
gross.
foot out. God damn, your feet fucking stink, dude. What is
All right,
that?
pass
Dude,
the
it's
petty
wafting
egg to
over
the next
here.
person.
This is awful.
Pass
This is
the rest.
oh no.
There's nothing in there. You got to get your other foot out.
Good. That's good. That's good.
Wait.
Kevin, you're next, then Jeff.
All right, I gotta
Chris.
I gotta give it a shot. I'm gonna go get the pasta.
Everybody there has to give some foot shavings.
I'm not doing it. I'm gonna stay out of this one. I'm staying out of this one. It's awful. This is awful. This is I can't believe you're gonna do this. I cannot believe you're gonna do this.
I don't think so, man. I told you my feet are fucking beautiful. There's nothing. I don't have flakes.
Don't you walk anywhere? Oh, that's right. You live in L.A. You don't walk anywhere. You're not walking anywhere.
I walk more.
That's
than
why
you
you don't have any calluses on your feet.
But I'm from New York, and I used to walk around there a lot. And
then you're gonna have calluses. I don't. You know what? I can't look. I can't look. I'm closing my eyes. I'm looking the other way. The thought of this is making me almost throw up.
Oh God damn it, Geoff!
Oh my God!
On it though. We don't have any old people. We got to go out to fucking
Hollywood Boulevard. Yeah, we need.
Oh, he's switching. He's
Here, give me that.
We need Guy Pearce's feet from Prometheus. That's what we need.
Oh.
If we had Guy Pearce's feet from Prometheus. See, if he was a hot Asian chick, though, I feel like this is a fetish from Japan. Hot Asian chicks.
It very well might be.
Asian chicks' calloused feet shavings on pasta is definitely. Let's look it up. Actually, look it up on YouTube. Is that a thing?
Shuddy boy.
Calloused feet.
Yes.
Check it out.
Yeah. Like.
What am I looking up?
That's disgusting.
Calloused feet.
All right, let's take a peek.
You could just put an Asian at the end, but it's like calloused feet shavings. I can't. Oh my God, I'm gonna throw up.
There might be flakes in there, man.
Oh my God.
They're not going. Put them in there.
All right, well here. We gotta document it so people know that this isn't fake.
Oh
the
no.
YouTube channel.
Oh
yeah,
no,
you
can't.
also have to put record. All right, there you go.
You and your fancy techno mumbo jumbo talk.
Techno beaver.
Well, let's see if anything comes out.
I'm not. I'm turning my microphone. I can't see this. This is horrific. This is horrific.
Zoom in. You can see there's like some specks there.
I should be out there.
Why? Do you have fucked up feet, Shuddy boy?
I have a couple of calluses on my toes.
Yeah,
oh, really? Of course you do. You're a Shuddy boy.
The camera's not doing it justice, but there are some specks on there.
Damn it.
That is kind of grody.
Man, your fucking feet, dude. They smell so bad.
Dude, don't be a pussy. I'll eat one right now. Dare me.
I feel like if your feet could clear someone's sinuses.
Yeah, dude.
Really
I think that's
offensive.
right.
All right.
I'll do it with you. It's not that bad.
I'm not.
You're being a pussy about it.
He's being dramatic.
I'm taking it down. That's pretty good.
Oh, dude, it's
This
fucking...
is officially the worst thing that's ever happened to me on a podcast. This is awful. This is awful. Oh my God.
All right, well, we got some of it down.
Oh.
It didn't turn out... I saw the commercial for these things. Ugh.
You know what it
And
is?
they're
They
way
use
more
whole
dramatic.
grain
I feel like
pasta.
it's
That's
kind
what
of
I
a
don't
bad.
like about it.
It's a bad. I would not get that particular one to shave. The peta egg kind of blows.
I feel like the one that we saw on the commercial was motorized.
Yeah, I
Geoff-
feel like there's a better.
I have the motorized one, though. It doesn't work. It works even worse. Listen.
It's the whole grain pasta I don't like. I don't really even mind the flakes.
Dude, seriously, please fart in my face to get the smell of your feet out of here.
Put that fart video back on. Okay, that's it for this week's show. I have to say, during that last segment, I was genuinely disgusted during the whole peta egg thing. I couldn't watch because it's one of those things that's close. It's so funny is because I've heard bits like this a million times on the Howard Stern show, which, Kevin came from. I mean, he worked there and he still works for Sirius. But just seeing it live is not something that
it's different than watching it when Stern was on the E! Channel, or different from listening to it, and then your imagination kind of fills in the details because you tend to pretty those up. But actually seeing it physically live, I had to turn away. It was disgusting. It was disgusting, which is a great way to end this show, on a disgusting note. But I got to thank those guys from the Mad Scientist Party Hour. It's rare these days something shocks me. But on this show, I think pretty much everything that could shock me did. Kevin Kraft, Geoff Clark, and the infamous Shuddy Boy. You can find the show at riotcast.com/Mad Scientist. You can follow the Mad Scientist Party Hour gang at Kevin Kraft Sucks. That's Kevin Kraft with a K, Kraft like the cheese. And at Shuddy Boy, SHUDDY Boy, and GC. It's G Clark 93 on Twitter. Follow the whole gang, and you can find them on Facebook. You can check out more of their shows. I want to thank you for listening. Really want to thank you for listening and supporting this show, and coming to see me when I do stand up, and our growing audience with these PodCRASH shows that we've been doing at IO West. Our next one is February 23rd with Saturday Night of the Living Dead. We'll be doing a zombie themed show. We'll be discussing Walking Dead and whatnot. We have some very special guests, someone famous that I really can't announce on the show. Someone famous that I have been barred from announcing because it has to actually be a secret. It's going to be kept a secret until that night, but someone extremely famous who has so much cred in this arena, and I can't say who it is, and it's killing me. But if you go to facebook.com/podcrash, you will find the event invite to get more information, or you can go to iowest.com, iowest.com. No, excuse me. It's ioimprov.com/west. I should get this right. And it's February 23rd, 7:30 p.m. We'll be having special cocktail mixer, and at 8 p.m. is the show on Saturday, February 23rd. Please come out for that and support the show. And I want to thank everybody who's coming out for this, because they're really fun. We're about to take it on the road to some places. We're going to be going to. Well, I can announce it now. You know what? I'm just going to announce it. March, just found this out. March 30th, 7:30 p.m. in Anaheim, California. PodCRASH will be at WonderCon. I don't know what it's going to be. I don't know what we're doing, but I just found out that we're doing that on March 30th. So if you are going to WonderCon in Anaheim, California, you're in for a treat. I'll also be at the Phoenix Comic-Con in May and other events. I'll tell you more details when I have details. All right, that's it for this week's show. And one last thing, let's get out of here.
Sis?
Oh my God. What is that?
Hey, if you're still listening to this, you're probably a lot like me. You're the kind of person that gets disgusted by gross things like a PETA egg in a fart video. Well, disgusted, but then you're also kind of laughing, like you're still in junior high. And if you do that, then you and I are a lot alike. And I like you. And for that, you shall be rewarded. Send a self-addressed stamped envelope to PodCRASH with that Chris Gore, 5042 Wilshire Boulevard, PMB 1500, Los Angeles, California, 90036. You will receive in return the PodCRASH Fan Club Kit. It's absolutely free with a self-addressed stamped envelope. And also, as a reward for continuing to listen to the very, very end of the show, here's a bonus piece of audio from the Mad Scientist Party Hour. Later.
Oh, by the way, what did you do for New Year's? What does a Chris Gore do for New Year's?
I actually I moved to an apartment in downtown LA, and I took the metro. I took the metro down to LA Live and just walked around with all the other drunks.
Really?
Yeah, no, it was great.
No big parties or anything?
Went down with no. There were. I mean, like no. I just come back from Michigan to see family there, and like. It wasn't on to me like it's New Year's Eve is amateur hour. I mean, it's when, and what's funny was like getting on the train and seeing like all these people, like it was the horrible. I wish I because I was with my girlfriend, we're like going downtown, just gonna find like some dive bar or something we can like ring in the new year, and because it was like last minute plans, and everyone on it was like this parade of horrible dresses, like horrible girls trying to walk in heels that don't normally walk in heels, and screaming drunks, and the train was packed. So it was actually really fun to be on the train and just judge everyone.